Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Meet the Light broadcast. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Glenda Dawson. She is from Stroudsburg, PA, and she has a lot of history in the energy healing modalities and a lot of certificates and a lot of background. So, Glenda, why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit about what you're doing today? And then I want to ask you some questions about how you got to where you were. So, just a quick introduction of what you do today and the different healings that you provide and the different services, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper.
Sure. Well, I basically am into any and all type of healing, whether it's Reiki, whether it's quantum, whether it's kind of like coaching, whether it's one-on-one that people just need an outlet, whether it's classes. I also do galleries and readings, psychic readings, mediumship readings, and I teach a lot of classes to kind of help the person, give them the tools so then they could take over.
Mhm.
For example, I just finished a self-love course that is 26 sessions, and I just give the people the realization of what they need to work on
Mhm.
and the tools how to go about it, and then they do the work. And it to me it just seems to be a deeper type of healing if the person puts in their 2 cents, so to speak,
Yeah.
if they take their own steps.
And I think that's what this type of work is all about, is just helping people empower themselves, right? So
Right,
giving
correct.
them the tools, helping them along so that they can step into their own power and
Mhm.
create the life that they want to. So how long have you been doing this type of work?
Okay, well, um I was healed first by archangels. I was less than one day before my second birthday. I couldn't walk at that point. My all the doctors said no because I had some pathology. Some bones were missing in my legs, and those are the important bones that you need to walk. And they kept saying no. She's just you just got to live with this. We could do braces, we could do, but it's got to be an older, and then we could teach her how to do everything that way. Well, day before my birthday, archangels came to me and said, "Hey, you can walk." And I'm like, "No, I've been told I can." And they just took my hand, and I haven't stopped since then. Slow down at my age a little bit, but I haven't stopped since then. And so right there and then on my second birthday, the next day, I basically made a commitment. I said, okay, you guys help me. I'm here for whatever is divine and whatever you need me to do,
Mhm.
no matter what, when or what age. So if you want me, that's it. So they would help me by um, if a butterfly needed some help, that all of a sudden I would get a little message, a little voice in my head. There's a butterfly stuck. Go help it. It's a little kid. You couldn't really do much. So I would go outside. I would get directed to where to go, and I would just release the butterfly, and I said, "Okay, thank you for stopping by," and go. And so they kept doing all that kind of stuff until I became an adult. And then as I became an adult, remember going on my way to New York City to do a class with two other friends. And it was a metaphysical energy healing, but I can't even tell you what modality it was right now. I'm talking about 1980. That was way a long time ago. But on the way there, about a block away from where the place was for that class, I saw a little sign saying Reiki classes today. And I'm like, what's Reiki? And I just kept getting the pull. Like I tried to walk by the place. Nope, nope. I couldn't move. I'm like, okay, this is why you brought me to New York City, because you wanted me to get this. And so I told my friends, go ahead, we'll just meet at such and such a coffee shop when everybody's done. And I went in there. I hadn't paid for the course. I had no idea what it was.
Hmm.
I was just called into it frozen because I couldn't walk. I every single time I tried to walk forward to continue, it was like a wall right there. I'm like, okay, okay, I'll go in here. Um, Paid an arm and a leg for that class because in those times it were, it was an
Hmm.
arm and a leg. And these grandmasters came once a year and they taught in this big auditorium and you had no books, you couldn't take notes, nothing. It was just, this is what it is. Tomorrow you come, we'll give you the attunement, and hopefully you remember because we're going to test you on it. So went back the next day, and it's just like, wow, that just opened up a whole new level
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And basically, I haven't stopped since then. Everything that I get called to or pushed, or, sometimes they say out of the blue, check this in the Catholic Church. Why in the Catholic Church? And I'm like, but there's always something. So I just follow the leads, and it always helps. It's always very helpful.
Yeah, you said a couple interesting things that I think people would want to know a little bit more about. I'm interested too.
Hmm.
So, at the time, whenever you had the miraculous healing, whenever
Hmm.
you were very young, around your second
Second birthday,
birthday,
yes. Mhm.
so how did people around you react? Like your family, your mother, your how was that for them? And did that shift some of their beliefs, or did they already have the belief that these things could happen?
Well, my father was very Christian, so he already believed in miracles and all that other stuff. But my mother was there that day, and it was like a late afternoon where she would put me outside in the front in the porch, so I could watch, cars and people and all that other stuff while she took care of cooking and cleaning and all that because, it wasn't like I could walk around and just follow her or anything like that. So she knew I was safe there. The neighbors always kept an eye on everybody and all that other stuff. So when I got up, yeah, that's a very interesting thing. I went inside and I said, I'm thirsty. So she lets out a huge, loud scream and kind of passes out. Now the neighbors hear this scream because it was summertime, the windows are open and everything. They hear it and they come running thinking that something was really, and everybody's like, oh, dear Lord, it's a miracle. Blah, blah. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I just want a glass of water. Here I am, my little 2-year-old self, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, what is all the commotion? Like, I don't get it. To me, it was like they said I could do it. Okay. I got up, I was doing it. To me, there was nothing big deal. What I learned later on is that not everybody could see archangels, not everybody can see
Mhm.
energy beings, not everybody. And so that's where I was like, what's happening? And they're all like freaking out. And I'm like, okay, what's up with that? Like, so,
So you've always had the ability to
yes,
see. Okay, well,
yes,
good.
yes. They used to come at that age. They used to come in the little costumes, like the ones that you see in the pictures and in the tarot cards and all that. All kind of like, the little swords playing around with the little helmets, that kind of thing, the wings. And as I grew older, they were uh, showing themselves more of what they really look like. At that time, it was more like to keep me not scared, not, it's like, oh, I don't know, I'm trusting you. I'm not sure. But coming in costume, I just thought it was like, like a child thinking it's Halloween,
Mhm.
no big deal. Like, so, but I always felt that love, that unconditional love, that calming energy anyway.
Mhm.
But I know that they do that until you're able to really see their real um, identity, basically, and feel the full power of them. Sometimes when they appear, like you could, bam, you're like, okay, all right, you're here. Got it. Okay. You could just feel it coming in.
You can feel if you it does it feel like just like energy and vibration. Like it
Yes.
changes
Energy,
your
vibration,
vibration in your body. Yeah.
right, right. And you could feel it all over. And that's how you know that's, definitely. And different vibrations equal different archangel or angelic being or light being, whichever one comes in. So, like people say to me, oh, you know them by name and faces. I'm like, no, I know them more by their vibration now,
Mhm.
because that's what they are. They're, just like when we're not in this, vessel, we're energy. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But mhm.
Very fascinating. I love that story. Love that story. So did it change your mother's beliefs or did it enhance your dad's beliefs on
It enhanced both of their beliefs.
Mhm,
My mother was more spiritual than Christian.
mhm,
She basically converted to Christianity because my father, when they got married, and then to go to a church together and stuff like that, which was that at that point that tradition. But my mother was born Catholic, but she also had gifts, so she knew there was more out there than what they were showing us. And my grandmother had gifts, and my grandfather had gifts. And on my mother's side, it's like, just go up, 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 and everybody had some gifts. Um, some of them talked about it, some of them didn't. But it was basically a secret known, a family secret that was known in the family.
mhm.
You just didn't say it out loud because in those times, you say you saw something, you were put away in the la la land.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's so wonderful about these times is that we
Yes.
can speak more of our truth and more of what we know. So it's wonderful meeting people like you and being able to connect with people across the world who
Mm-hmm.
are doing this type of work. You had mentioned Reiki and how expensive it was for you. And I don't think people, well, maybe they do, but maybe some people don't realize how secretive and sacred that was at that
Yes.
time because the price to get attuned to, Reiki master, really Reiki level 1, Reiki level 2, Reiki master was really expensive. And
Mm-hmm.
today we're teaching people and giving them these gifts. And um, I would, I don't know how much you paid at that time, but I would think it would be thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Because I know that it would go anywhere up to about $10,000 just to be a Reiki master back.
Yes, the level one was 5 grand.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Which I would, and even back then, I mean, you got to consider this. Back then, you got a lot more for your dollar. So $5,000 back then, I would say it's equivalent of like 15, 20 grand now.
yeah.
Because it was,
Well, it's a true gift to be able to go through Reiki and
mhm,
get the attunement. And I think the dollar value that they place on it then really let people realize that. And today
mhm,
we're not charging very much because we're trying to uplift people, but
exactly.
sometimes people don't take it as seriously. I feel like
Hmm. Hmm.
they don't real many people do, but some people do not. They're just
Right.
curious and they don't carry through with the self Reiki and really
Mm.
anchor in that energy. So have you seen similar what I'm talking about? Have you seen similar things like that?
Well, I do have a someone who took level three with me or retook it level three with me.
Mhm.
And she had one of the original certificates from that time. And she said, at that time, it was sacred. It became part of your daily practice. It wasn't like, you just went in a class, you did the class, you did this, you did that. Okay, I got the certificate done, put it away. It was more like you lived it. And I think that's why they had such a high price, because they wanted to make sure that you really wanted to become
Mhm.
that, to really have it in your life, not just, okay, here's another certificate. And what I did was I took it a little further. I kept going and going and going, became the Grandmaster. And then I keep saying, okay, so Usui is like your family physician. And then all these other modalities that I have obtained and been attuned to are like the specialists. So if you have pains that you want to come for a Reiki thing, but you really have some type of addiction. And so, okay, let's go to the Reiki modality that helps addictions, because then that brings to the surface what is the root cause of your addiction. Because the root cause of your addiction isn't just, oh, I like to play the horses, or I like to gamble, I like to um, use alcohol, drink a lot of alcohol, or anything like that. The real cause of addiction is some trauma.
Mhm.
And sometimes we have to dig to bring it out to then release it.
Mhm.
So, and that's what the reason that I've decided to go further and further. And now with the abilities to connect with galactic beings and other dimensional, other beings of other dimensions and all that other stuff. So then I could help them, and they help me help humans. So it's kind of like we keep going, the healing keeps going around and around, and hopefully everybody's vibrational frequency is higher and closer to more of divine beings, and hopefully leave some of this density that we are attached to
Mhm.
behind.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds wonderful. Did you want to go into the galactic beings or some of the healing work that you do there?
well, I work with Arcturians. I work with galactic beings from Syria, Sirius A, Sirius B. Not too many from Sirius C. For some reason, they only one or two come to me, but that's okay. I work with anybody. I work with the Council of Nine, the Council of Eight, Council of 12. They come and they help me channel messages on a weekly basis, where they give the group coordinates, and then we appear there. It could be Earth, it could be the moon, it could be another galaxy, a whole other universe, it could be the sun, it could be anywhere.
Mhm.
But it's to help us remember what we are and what true gifts we possess, that through life and through generations and through centuries, that knowledge has gone away.
Mhm.
And we box ourselves in, and we don't like to see anything past that, because that's human beings. That's just in the chemistry.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I think it's just something that we're taught, you know,
mm,
and people always say, think outside the box, and I'm thinking, really, there is no box. It just keeps
right.
going and going and going, right? And
Hmm.
it's fascinating. It's fascinating the extraordinary abilities that everyone has, and
Hmm.
um, just if they would realize it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. And the good part about all this is that even now I co-wrote with other authors a second one of my books, second book for me, where we had Kevin Harrington. We wrote with him, and it was really nice because he allowed me to express how I stayed in business, in this type of business. and how it's growing and what abilities I used and what gifts I used to help me guide the process of being staying in business through COVID and all that other stuff. And so the book just came out, and I'm saying to myself, wow, this is such a wonderful time. You couldn't talk about these things. And now here we are writing, in this book and me and telling my story and sending it out to people, to millions and billions of people, possibly to read
Mm-hmm.
how I stayed in this type of business, not only as a woman, but also as just a gifted person. Not it wasn't corporate. It wasn't the regular corporate type of business that everybody says, oh, you do this, you do this, you do this, and it's basically like a cookie cutter, and you just keep the same thing. This type of business, you have to work it a little different. So,
And you were presented an award for your work. Is that right? I know you were invited to a red
I,
carpet.
yeah, yes, we were. We all went there for that book. We were a red carpet event. There was a banquet. There was book signing. So it was wonderful. It was really good. We all received an award, all the authors, because of the ability to keep going and growing in our business, no matter what it was. So I was ecstatic. I was flying to Tampa to get this. I was like, ah,
Yeah, it is exciting. It's very
yes, yes,
exciting, and it's
yes.
very admirable that you were able to continue with the business when I feel like now more people know about it, but whenever you were working your business, how long have you been doing this now? For how many years?
Well, um, professionally, 15, 16 years. But before that, I was just, well, I was doing it, but not with a center and all that other stuff. I was doing it on the side. I was a paralegal for 35 years, and it's like the complete opposite, really. So, but all my friends, family, I had people who just continued taking the classes, continue to obtain sessions, and so I was just working through that at the same time I was a paralegal, which it was very interesting, the two. But I'm a Gemini, so that would explain why I was balancing both sides.
Yeah. So when were you born? A Gemini, were you
A June, June,
June? In June. Okay.
June,
All right.
June Gemini. Yes.
Yeah. Well, even whenever working as a paralegal, right?
Hmm.
Um, even in occupations like that, you can still shine your light and help so many people.
Definitely. And the good part about being a paralegal is you actually saw people at their worst.
Mhm.
If they had an accident, you saw them at their worst. If they got arrested, you saw them at their worst. If they were going through a divorce, you see them at their worst, really. So you kind of have to learn how to be also slash counselor and just talk them through it and help them. So I guess in a way, I really was doing it for a long time. I just wasn't doing it professionally,
Right.
basically. So, and they always used to say, you have something that you calm people down. And I'm like, well, I listen. That's the first thing.
Mhm.
I actually create that safe space for them. And then one of the attorneys I used to work for said, no, no, you have some angelic energy behind you. And I just grinned and walked away. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to mix this with that part of it. So, but my gifts and my abilities and my team really helped me even through being a paralegal because I saw little details that people would just miss.
Mhm.
Or I follow leads that they said, follow, do that. And that gave me the answers that I needed. So um, if I have them, why not use them?
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fascinating. That's fascinating. And I think that's good for people to hear that
Hmm.
whatever they're choosing to do in life, that they can use these gifts in that area. And,
Exactly.
I think that's where we're coming to now in this new space. I know for me, November, December, even into January, there was a lot of energies. What did you experience over the last few months?
Ah, it was like one thing after another. There was no stopping. I would say, oh, finally, okay, I get a day to sleep in, this, and all of a sudden it's like the phone text or whatever, and they're like, we need to talk. I need a session. I need this. I can't handle the energies. I can't do that. And I'm like, okay, so well, that goes that morning that I could sleep. But even that's with the clients, but even within myself, even within my, it's like every moon shift. Oof. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Somebody calling my name, I would wake up. I'm like, I need sleep, and they would be laughing. And then they would say, no, we need you to get this download. Okay.
Mhm.
So I would go to the computer because usually what I do is I let them download and then I just close my eyes and let it let it get typed up. So automatic writing, but with a keyboard.
Mhm.
So I would just let it happen so I can then get the messages or the direction or sometimes it was just a matter of don't go to the store on this day. You need to stay till the next day. And then I would say, but why? Everything is, and then all of a sudden, as something as silly as that, and all of a sudden you understood because you were home and something occurred. And if you weren't there, it could have turned to something really bad. But because you were there, it was simple. Or I would come to the center and all of a sudden I had a client outside. I really need somebody to talk to. I'm having problems. And so they would come in and we would do a Reiki session, and then all of a sudden it's like you could see them glowing again, and you could see them calm again, and whatever negative vibration that they had that they were holding on to has disappeared, and they're able to then just refresh
Yeah.
and look at everything in a new perspective.
Yeah. It's
So,
like people are healing. People, the
mhm,
energy's coming in. It's allowing things to come up to be cleared and healed.
mhm.
I just, we're in wonderful times. We're in
Yes.
wonderful times, and I'm really excited about it.
So am I. And I there's a lot of fear out there, and I'm like, I am not scared. I don't have any fear. Why? Like I feel that you, I hate talking about politics, but the elections and all this other stuff, everybody's like all worked up about it. And I'm like, why? Just
Mhm.
breathe.
Yes.
Take a moment and breathe. You're not going to be able to control anybody.
Mhm.
So just try to go with the flow as best as you can. And your needs will always be met if you allow that energy to come in. You allow that positive energy to come in, your needs will be met. And yes, abundance, you ask for abundance and it doesn't come like you want it. Okay, it's not, 7 figures in your bank account. But somebody cooks one day and says, oh, I got all this extra food. You want it? That's abundance.
Exactly. Yes.
It's all how you look at it.
Hmm.
And as long as you try your best and continue to allow that healing to occur, we can hopefully, as a collective, go up a little more. We were almost there last year.
Yes.
So,
So on your automatic writing,
mhm,
you get woke up, and I have gotten that too, but I write in my journal. But you're
mhm,
typing. Are
mhm,
these, it sounds like some of the messages are directly for you, like what you should be doing. Do you
mhm,
ever get downloads where there's messages where you should get that out to the people?
mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And when I do get those, I usually do a little newsletter for the people that subscribe. And I usually, in some way, do something like on TikTok or even Facebook or whatever, where it's like maybe a little video because people's attention span sometimes is not long. So they want a quick fix. So you got to come up with the the right wording to get that message out and get that started, plant that seed
Mhm.
so they can then, take it from there. I have been many times have done streaming where I do this meditation and it's like, okay, let's meditate for peace. Let's meditate for this. And it isn't global peace so much, it's inner peace. So you can have that global peace.
Mhm.
So but yes, and they also have, I'm also writing a couple of books where those messages are going in there, those letters, I call them, because each time that they wake me up, it's like, oh my goodness, you're working on 15 pages here. So, and then some are for, in particular for, okay, keep an eye on this. This is where it's going. You can help by directing your energy here, your energy that way. Um, Sometimes they direct me to call more Arcturians than, angelics, or because we need to have a balance of energy. And sometimes the Arcturians' energy is a little more of what humanity needs at this moment
Mm.
than the angelic energy. Not that we don't need it, but sometimes we get too much of one thing and then people just push it aside. So you kind of need a
Because you're
jolt.
bringing in different energies.
Right.
What I have found, and I want to see if this is true for you,
Mm-hmm.
Syrian energy is
Mm-hmm.
very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And I am being a star seed from Sirius. It comes very strong.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's when I tap into that energy and then I send, say, a distance Reiki healing, people say that they see me there. And they see me just putting my hands not on them but over their body or whatever, standing there just doing like this, and they're like, okay, you are freaking me out now. And I start laughing. I'm like, you asked for the healing.
I'm surprised that they can see that though, because not everybody can see.
Right, but they
Mhm.
can. Most of my clients can see me. So I don't know if it's the fact that I just push my way through. Could be.
Maybe.
Could be. Kind of like ignite that third eye. Come on.
Hmm.
But or they're just very open. I think it's a combination, really. I
Yeah.
think their willingness to be present for their own healing is very important. So
Yeah.
very powerful.
So what would be an important message to give to everyone at this time based on some of the downloads that you received?
Well, a very important message right now is not to feed in the fear and into the negative. Don't need that. Don't accept it. Um, if there is, if you go, a good example, if you go somewhere and somebody is having a moment, let them have their moment. Don't let that energy get stuck to you. You
Mhm.
know, envision a little egg sort of shell, and don't and let that energy just bounce off right back, because the more that you allow that negativity to come in, the lower you will stay.
Mhm.
So if you not allow that, don't fear the fear, don't feed the fear, don't eat the fear, don't allow it to come into your psyche.
Mhm.
Just say, okay, my perspective is different for this situation. And I am not going to allow the fear to stop me. I'm not going to allow that energy to stop me doing the steps that I need for my healing, for my ascension, for my goals, for just life. And, everybody talks about, oh, I have this goal and that goal and that goal. And I said, my goal is to be better than I was yesterday. And to my vibrations to be higher than yesterday and to hopefully get closer to that collective ascension
Yeah.
than we were yesterday. No matter how they manifest.
Keeping your goals simple. I like.
Yes. Yes. It's like because why worry about the details when the details can change from second to second?
Mhm.
And you don't always have control over things. All you can control or manage is yourself
Mhm.
and what you do with it and how you feel and what energy you create around you.
Mhm.
Uh, I have been in situations where everybody's fighting and I'm eating a potato chips, bag of potato chips while everybody's fighting and yelling and screaming. And I'm like, they'll be done at some point. They'll all get tired. And then I'm like, okay, who heard anything? Because not one of you heard each other.
Mhm.
All you heard was chaos. So why don't we start doing this? And then I would be like, why don't we just take turns and create that space? Like let's listen to each other.
Mhm.
So it's stuff like that they want us to pay attention, not to just sit where we are, but take steps in
Mhm.
where we want to be, towards where we want to be.
Yeah. And what you just described is just like just being whenever
Mm-hmm.
you're in the energy of maybe negativity, you just be and you hold your presence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold your
Mm-hmm.
presence strong, and that can shift the situation and help
Mm-hmm.
other people as well.
Yes, because they see you as the example, and they're all going to be wondering, okay, why is she just sitting there eating potato chips like this was a show, And it is because that's the screen, and this is me,
Hmm.
and that's how you look at it, and you can separate yourself from that negative, chaotic energy
Yeah.
that sometimes is all around us, and shine as bright as you can. Even if in the very beginning you have to think of a very nice memory. You were at the beach and you were watching the sunset and you're like, oh yeah, and just keep that. In the beginning, it's kind of practice, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Until you finally get it, and you just turn on your light and that's it.
You
So,
just are responsible for your vibration.
right.
Everybody should be responsible for their own vibration.
Hmm.
That's how we're all going to collectively uplift. You talked about some books that were coming out that you're
Hmm.
working on now. Do you have any classes or any other things that you would like everyone to know about?
Well, in February, I'm starting the self-love course again. Figuring February,
Yeah,
love, why not?
love that.
So I started that, and we meet twice a month, and each session is an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on what day it is. And that includes two one-on-one sessions with me because I feel that you sometimes you need to tell me where you are so I could try to help you.
Mhm.
And so throughout the course, we talk about different things and things that people don't realize that are happening to them, and certain tools and what you can do, and how we heal our chakras and how we heal those events that occurred that even though you say, oh, I went to a therapist about it, there's still some dust back there because it's still affecting you. So let's bring that dust up, sweep it up, and learn how to get rid of it. And what I leave them with is basically tools that they could use and use and use for the rest of their lives. I also am doing workshops like this Saturdays. I do 3 to 4 hour workshops for January and February, where it's all about healing. For where I've done immune system type of workshops where we talk about the immune system and all that, and then I have Kuai Ying's energy, and I give you an activation to so her energy can help you. I have done matrix classes, how to go into your matrix and look at it and all that. It's all about, I give you the tools basically, give you the examples, give you the obvious that you may not have realized, and then I give you the activation. Um, I am going to be doing from now till the end of February a whole bunch of different workshops, which I'm in the process of listing up because I go by what they tell me. So I go and I say, okay, so which one do you think I should do this week? No, not that one. Okay, that one should be like end of February. Okay, end of February. I put that like, so I'm being directed because they know what's going to be going on,
Yeah.
and I'm just guessing.
Hmm.
And so they know what humanity needs more right now. And with everyone getting sick right now and all that other stuff, so immune system is perfect class. And then at some point, I'm going to do DNA activation, the 3 different levels 12, 30, 24, and 36. I do that kind of thing. So it's every single Saturday, like I said, from now till the end of February, it's a whole bunch of classes and stuff. Then I also have classes every Tuesday night. Right now, the third Tuesday of the month, I do tarot certification classes. We're already in that group, and that's just a continual thing until they finish that. That's 18 months. And then I'll start another class or another section course. And then in between it's just activations, whatever I get my team to say, hey, you need to work on this. I'm going to start teaching a course or courses on shamanism.
Hmm.
So to help people bring that energy in also. Because what people don't understand is, or that's how I see it, the more modalities you learn, the easier it is to connect to whatever energy it is you need. A
Hmm.
person may need for me to go into their dark side, into the underworld, and grab whatever is there that needs healing, bring it up. And then I may have to take that event or trauma and take it upstairs, basically, to the upper world to see what kind of healing that could. So it all depends on what you need at what given time. Um, I do classes with crystals. I teach people how to use the crystals for different purposes.
Hmm.
What kind of crystals, what kind of herbs, and how to use them. So
Right,
it's
you have a variety of things. I love it. I love it because I believe people are drawn to different things depending
mm,
on, where they're at right now.
right.
Very similar to my experience. You start with something and then you learn more and then you learn more. And
Mhm.
I love that you're offering so many different things, giving people choices of, okay, what's resonating with you and to get
Exactly.
them on the path of empowerment. That's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your work. I like to get some of the links so that we can post it below so people can get in contact with you.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
and
Definitely.
is there anything else that you would like to say?
Well, I would like to really tell people just be empathetic with yourself.
Great.
Okay. we're humans. We're light beings in a human experience, and don't be so hard on yourself. There's always that other opportunity to better yourself and to auto-correct yourself like the phones do, back to where you're supposed to be. So just take one day at a time, and that goes for everybody, the ones that are on their path and the ones that are not, because sometimes we want things to happen really quick and it's not the perfect time. Just breathe, continue accepting positive energy, creative energy, uh, seeing what the world has to offer around you, and also be grateful for everything you have
Mm,
each and every day. And that in itself would help you raise your vibrations.
very nice. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
thank you,
having me.
thank you for your service.